and good morning, my artsy friends. Happy Monday morning. Welcome to our regularly scheduled Monday morning live. My name is Ken Johnson, your thrifty apprentice, and I'm so happy that you all took time out of your day, your schedule to join me over here for today's live. So we are going to be taking a look at a new watercolor pencil set, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But we're going to kick things off like we normally do with kind of recapping and kind of looking at what's coming up now. I'm trying to think. We just had, if you missed it, there was the release of the Karen Dosh Museum Aquarelle 76 full watercolor pencil set review or overview. It dropped this past Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So if you missed that, do take time to go check it out. It those are truly some really awesome pencils, like super awesome pencils. Um, Beyond that, there was this past Wednesday, there was the mesmerizing moth, the ornate moth, where we did a little time lapse of a cute little moth that you could slow the video down and follow along with if you would like to. And that time lapse is actually available as a full-time tutorial over in the Creation Station level of the Thrifty Patreon community. So if you are a member of the Creation Station, you have access to a full-length real-time tutorial for that moth. Let's see. Ooh, anything else? This past Sunday, yesterday, we had Watercolor Sunday Fun Day. Watercolor Sunday Fun Day was posted in the Thrifty Patreon community, open to all levels. So, regardless of whether you were a free member or a Creation Station member, you did have access to yesterday's live. It is available for anyone who wants to go check it out. Now, there will be some edits done to that live to make it more replay friendly as soon as I'm done with everything for today. But it is available if you want to check it out. In that live, we created a sort of mega convenience color palette, and I did it from quarter pans that I ordered from Christy Rice over on Palm Street. In color story palettes, and I'll show you what I mean. So I was able, she was selling in one of her Palm Street lives these different watercolor sets that were quarter pans that were generously filled, and each of the sets was based on basically a color story. So I ordered the rainbow. That way I could put together a convenience palette. So there was red, yellow, green, blue, and violet. We pan those up, or should I say, we remove the pans from those palettes and put them all into this really cute little modern day vintage looking watercolor tin. It ended up being 40 quarter pans of paint, all in rainbow order, or somewhat rainbow order, should I say. We did take time to swatch those out, and you can check out this live. It was so much fun. We swatched those paints out, all 40 of them, right? And then there was a quick little illustration done with the paints just so we could, start playing with the palette. Uh, Nothing too serious, just something really quick. We was working on value and perspective in this particular one. So again, if you missed this, please go check it out. You can join the Thrifty Patreon community as a free member and have access to that live. Although um, Watercolor Sunday Fun Days are typically Creation Station lives. I did open that one to everyone. So definitely go check it out. It was a lot of fun. And if you've never experienced Palm Street, both myself, Christy Rice, Bendy Desai, and a couple of other watercolor influencer and artists are starting to do lives on that platform, as well as open up shops on that platform. So did I? Hopefully, you guys can still hear me. Hopefully, I didn't turn off my mic. I just heard a beep. I'm not sure what's going on. All right. So yeah, you can find links for Palm Street out in the video description of most of my videos. I'm not sure if I've done the video description for this live yet. If I have, the link is down there and available. If I have not, then it will be available after the live once I start fitting in the video description. Let's see what else. We are in the testing phase still for the Hannah MP Influence Artistro 24 color watercolor set. As you know, we had an unboxing. I told you guys I'm not going to do a review of these paints simply because I'm more than sure they're superior white label, and I've kind of reviewed them in other iterations. And when we get to the overview video, I'll be sure to link um, the links for any other reviews that I've done for paints that I'm, pretty sure are produced by the same factory. But so far, so good with the testing on this. I'm almost done with creating the video, which will come out soon. And this kit came with the palette, watercolor paper, and 2 brushes included. And we will be looking at that coming up shortly, so you can stay tuned. And I am also still in the testing phase for my colored pencil people. And for those who use colored pencils in your mixed media work, I am still in the testing phase for the Posca 36 count color pencil set. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been having fun testing these pencils. I'm going to show you a glimpse of just some of the stuff that I've done with them so far. Um, and I've only completed 3 illustrations. I'm going to complete 5 illustrations with them before I decide to drop the review video. And one of these illustrations I will be actually doing with you all. But so far, so good as far as testing these pencils are concerned. They seem, I'm used to using a more wax-based pencil. These are definitely an oil-based, but I have to say, I have to say that kind of enjoying the whole testing phase of those pencils. I really am. So you can look forward to that coming up as well. Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to cover before we jump into looking at our product for today? I think that's it. The video for how to create your own watercolor block will be coming out soon. So for my crafty friends, my crafty slash artist friends, there will be the video for the how to create your own watercolor block out of, some leftover papers coming. And then there will also be a kind of sketchbook flip through coming as well. So today we are taking a look at the Superior branded 24 count watercolor pencil set. Now, this is a woodless watercolor pencil set, and I'm going to start this off by saying this will not lead to a review video for this set for a couple of reasons. The main reason being I have reviewed these pencils before under the Arteza brand. I've reviewed these pencils before under another brand as well. And I'm pretty sure that those other brands use Superior to produce their woodless watercolor pencils. Now, what caught my attention about this particular set when I was on Amazon looking around is that this set of woodless watercolor pencils, each pencil comes with its own individual brush that has a cap on it. And I was like, okay, that's unique. And if for no other reason than the novelty of it, I want to kind of test these out. So I'm kind of thinking that I know what the quality of the product itself is. So this video is really going to be sort of a look at the actual novelty of it all. When I go back to do edits to this live, I will be sure to link any other reviews for particular pencils that are just like this. And you may have seen some. So what we're going to do is we are going to swatch them. We're going to make it fun. And then we'll probably end up doing a little quick demo with them. So we're going to make the swatching phase really quick. I'm going to move really quickly with it. So let's just take a look. We have Superior Watercolor, and it says the solid watercolor paints can direct drawing. So can be used for direct drawing is pretty much what it means. There is a digitized swatching here with the color reference numbers um, for the pencils. It is in a 2-piece hinged plastic case. that has quite a few latches on it going around the case. And the back is blank, simply with a warning sign saying that this product is recommended for professional use and for ages 14 plus. So let's pop this open, and we're going to open this on up here. And as you can see, inside we have a foam cushion dividing the two sides of the holder, meant to protect the pencils. And there are 24 woodless watercolor pencils that are branded Superior. Now, I should have grabbed those Arteza pencils. So I already have these pencils. I've already reviewed them. You can go check out the Arteza Woodless Watercolor Pencil review. Um, so that's kind of why I'm only going to do pretty much an overview for these pencils. Let's go ahead and swatch them and just kind of take a look at these individual pencils themselves. Let's pull one out here. So each pencil is a full stick of pigment held together by like some type of lather. The great thing about a woodless watercolor pencil is that you have pure pigment, or should I say pure color. You're going to be, there is no wood waste. When you sharpen woodless watercolor pencils, I would suggest that you sharpen them into a palette because you can actually save those shavings, put just a drop of water on them, and they'll dry down into almost like a little paint pen. Of course, you know, there are several different techniques that I like to utilize using watercolor pencils, and especially when it comes to woodless ones, saving the shavings and creating a little makeshift palette from them. Pretty cool idea. So here, of course, you're going to have a full color barrel, whichever one it is, or a full colored stick. It simply says Superior, has some Chinese writing on it. There's a brush on this end to let you know that it is water soluble. There are caps on each of the pencils that gives the color number. There is a UPC code, so I'm going to assume that you can possibly buy these open stock in the Chinese market. As you guys know, Superior happens to be one of the student grade Chinese brands that I recommend on a regular basis outside of the Milling pretty excellent student grade line of paints. Um, but these the Superior actually makes really good student grade products, and they white label for many budget brands. So that's pretty much all of the information that's on there. It says watercolor. There is a plastic cap that holds on a nylon bristle brush, which is a brilliant idea. Let's be clear. I've always suggested to you guys whenever you're using like a water soluble stick media, be it a watercolor pencil, a watercolor crayon, a watercolor oil pastel, that you use a nylon bristle, a synthetic bristle brush. I typically say golden taklon, but really any nylon brush that you happen to like will work, because I just feel like it pushes the pigment around a little bit better. It helps to get it into the tooth of the paper a little bit better. And it's going to help dissolve. Softer brushes tend to not blend watercolor pencils or crayons or oil pastels out as well as a nylon bristle brush will. So that's always a tip. So I think it's really cool that they put, and it's almost like the end of a water brush. If I had to guess, that's probably about a number 4 round nylon brush. Now, it doesn't look like it comes to the greatest point, but I don't think that that's a big deal. Um, I don't think that's a big deal when it comes to watercolor pencils, but we're going to play with them and see. That's pretty much what the barrel and the pencil looks like. Pretty straightforward. They come in an individual like little holder. So the tray have plastic dividers in it, which the pencil snaps into to help keep it secure from rolling around. You know, if you throw it in a bag, watercolor pencils are a wonderful medium for travel sketching, travel painting. If you like to plein air, listen, give Throw a couple of watercolor pencils in a bag instead of paints one day and just give it a try. See what you can pull off with it. As long as you can sketch, all you're going to be doing is dissolving that media into a watercolor, a water soluble experience. So let's get these swatched out. There's not too many. 24 is not a lot. So we're going to swatch these really quick. And as I do this, I'll just kind of glance back and forth at the comment section to see if there are any questions I need to answer or anything that you guys are saying that we need to talk about, all those good things. So first up is going to be number 104. If I had to guess, simply because these pencils do not have a color name on them, this is more than likely lemon yellow, just gauging the color. Now, I'm pretty sure we're finna check it out in just a second. I can already tell you they're gonna release really well, and they're gonna be pretty vibrant um, for a budget watercolor pencil. So as you can see, you can pull that pencil out of there. So if you run out of a pencil, you can get another one and just stick this cap on the end of another like lemon yellow or lemon leaning yellow color. It's pretty cool. Another thing that makes me feel like maybe they sell them open stock in the Chinese market. Now, in this market, you can get Arteza pencils, which are the same pencil, Arteza woodless pencils. There are a couple of other, I've even seen now that a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, so I was in a Hobby Lobby and I noticed that the Master's Touch brand had a line of woodless watercolor pencils, and looking at them, I could tell right away they were superior. Um, I've seen a couple of other companies do this as well. Now, this is number 105, and this is more like a maybe cad yellow. We're gonna move quick. Next up is number 108, and this gives me gamboge. It's more of an orange leaning, but it's still yellow. Now, I am seeing that there is some chipping on the lid of some of the pencils already, like right out of the holder. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a consistent thing because I don't experience like breakage with the Arteza ones. That one's already a little loose, but the caps are meant to be removed, so I don't guess that's too big of a deal. And if it was, you could put a little glue on the end and stick it back in there. Pencils are cheap anyway. This is more like a cad orange. This is number 111. Moving on to number. Oh, well, you have to get them in there just right from the click in. There we go. Number 121. Let's see. What does this look like? Um, hmm, maybe a scarlet. It's a little cool on the cool side. Yeah. I'll have to check the website during one of the little chat check breaks to see if because can you order them under Lightwish? I think that's where I ordered them. I think I ordered them from the Lightwish storefront on Amazon. I might have to go back and check in just a moment. This is more of a alizarin crimson leaning color, not quite rosy enough to be a quinacridone. This is 225. Okay, it's a nice selection of reds in here, which is kind of unusual for a watercolor pencil set. That's gorgeous. That's gorgeous even in its dry form. Uh, Yep. So yeah, I'm having to push the pencil back in. So the pencil is definitely coming out of some of the caps, and they're definitely in there. That plastic holds the top of the pencil in pretty well. This is number 142. Now this is more of a rosy leaning color. This looks like it may be something like a carmine or uh, yeah, something in that area. Next up, oh, these are definitely not in rainbow order, huh? I guess I should have paid attention to that before I start swatching. We're gonna keep moving and swatching just like they are in the palette. This is number 138, and this is definitely a violet color. Interesting the way they have them laid out. I don't know. Just violet. I'm sure it has a. And it was my conclusion with testing the Arteza pencils that they are using a dye enhancer in the pencils. 143. This is a blue. I'm gonna try to make this entire swatch sheet to tip a kind of preliminary testing sheet. And that looks like it was meant to be the neutral blue. So if I had to guess, it's probably a phthalo mimicking pigment. This is number 146. It's really like a sky blue, not quite warm enough for it definitely has a white pigment mixed into it, whatever it is, or white dye mixed into it. Next up is 110. We're still in the blue family. Okay, now I take that back. This is excuse me. This is more of the phthalo blue color. It's pretty. And then we have number. I don't, gotta have to get it in there just right. Then we have number 145, which is I don't know. It looks like it has white mixed into it, and as you can see, the lid is chipped right out of the palette. There's been quite a few of them like that. I don't know about the blues though. The blues are giving me the blues. um, two of them, I'm sure, has a white pigment mixed into them. It's a pretty color now that I'm looking at it from the angle I am. Next up is number 276. We're moving into the green. And again, quickly cap, as you can see, the caps are not on there the best. And each of the individual brushes would need the sizing to be rinsed out of it, but that's not a big deal. All right, we're getting into our greens here. Next up is number 161. That one seems to be okay as far as the lid is concerned. Those colors are almost identical. One of them has just a One of them is just a tad bit warmer than the other. But those two look really close. I'm wondering if they're supposed to be like an eye. Now, here's the thing about water soluble products. It is always my suggestion that no matter what you think it looks like, that you swatch your watercolor pencils or any water soluble medium. So as you can see here, there seems to be like a heat defect on this one right there on the lacquer. I'm pretty sure it won't affect the performance of the pencil. We'll have a little bit there as well. It's in quite a few places on this particular pencil. So yeah, this one was a little defective, I guess. Let's see. We'll go up here. That's your more yellow green, sap green leaning color. Then we have number 167. That barrel looks okay. Doesn't seem to be any chip. This looks a little olivey. Pretty color. Not bad on the greens. I feel like the greens feel a little bit more saturated, a little bit more lively than the blues do. Next up is 268, and just looking at it, I'm gonna say this is in the sienna range, like raw sienna, or maybe what they're putting in here for yellow ochre. Yep, it's a pretty color. I'm gonna enjoy that one. I mean, I'm saying it like I've never used these before. Next up is 182, which seems to be pretty close to what we just swatched. It's a little cooler. It's like a ochre, just ochre, like a natural ochre, or raw ochre, something like that. Next up is 175, and uh, okay, so the color chip is supposed to be a swatch, I guess. So I'm going to say this is brown. Like a, woo, I have no idea what that is. Espresso. It's a nice deep brown. It's going to be amazing for shadows. Then we have ourselves. We're going into grays here. This one, you can always look at the ones and tell when there may be like a white dye, or if it's truly a pigment based pencil, it'll might have some white mixed into it. This is like a, I don't know, feels like a warm gray, like a number one or a number two, maybe a number two, number three, something like that. And then we have a darker gray here. And those are numbers. Oh, the lighter one was 271. The darkest is 234. And last but not least, 199, which would be black. And there is a white pencil 101, but I didn't swatch that. My experience with white watercolor pencils is that they are not the best. I've never run across a white watercolor pencil that I thought was just amazing, other than the Derwent ink tint pencil, which is actually dye based, or the Derwent ink tint block. That white is very opaque, really good. So uh, those are pretty ones. Much the only ones I've run across that were super opaque. We need to disperse these with some water. Now, it would make sense to use the brush that came on. That's the whole point, right? So let's see. I'm gonna dip this in some water. We're gonna give this a go. I feel like this is gonna be lame. I'll be honest with you. Um, I don't know. Maybe in the field, it's a useful thing. Let's see. So I'm just gonna wipe the sizing out of that brush, and then we're gonna. Oh well, it definitely pushes. Oh wow, gorgeous! It definitely pushes the pigment on. And I mean, I guess this way, I guess you don't really have to worry about cleaning the brush too much because it would only be used for that one color, right? But then you can't like recap it until it's dry. That's what kind of throws me. So like, what do you do until your brush dry? Because you don't want to put the cap on it while it's still wet. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of set it up like that. And I guess I'm gonna be the idea would be to take the cap off each one. I'm assuming. I'm just assuming here. I don't know. It doesn't like come with instructions. So to take the cap off each one, because again, you can't like put it back on while it's wet. And then you don't want to dip the brush too far down into any water because you don't want to submerge the pencil into the water or get water into the cap where the pencil and the cap are, connected. So I don't know. I'm trying to feel whether I feel this idea or if it's just something cute in thought. How practical is this? The pencils are going to be gorgeous. I already know that. But the overall, point behind this is that each one comes with its own individual brush. Now, of course, you're not supposed to put too much water on watercolor pencils, or else you will lift the pigment off the paper. So, now I kind of get it, but this whole system just kind of bothers me because as we were swatching them in dry form, you saw that some of them were already, unglued from the caps. I guess it's meant for them to be interchanged once you start to run out of a pencil or once it starts to get too low, which I can kind of get that. But then you have to be really careful when you are using the brush, especially if you're dipping it in water, because it's not like a water brush where you can control the amount of water that's going to feed out through the bristle. You're actually dipping this into, your pail or your bucket. So you need to be conscious not to go too far, or else you're going to kind of get water in there, which I'm pretty sure would help to dissolve pigment and make your pigment run down your barrel, or you may accidentally submerge the pencil itself. So, hmm. Now, that's not to say I don't dip my pencils in to water when I'm using them. I do, but I'm doing it on purpose and I'm being very mindful of what I'm doing. Like this product, I don't know. I think the back of it said 14 or older, right? So I guess a 14-year-old could be conscious enough. Definitely understand why it's not recommended for anyone under that age. And even for a forgetful adult, I don't know how practical this would be. But as you can see, the pencils dissolve to be absolutely gorgeous. Slight tap of the wet brush, not pushing hard or anything of that nature. And the brush is actually very effective. It's doing the job it's supposed to do. And I'm not having to, necessarily clean my brush every single time. So that's pretty cool. I don't know. By the time we get through with the demo, I'll tell you, I, I'll have better insight on what I think of this whole gimmick. The pencils are so nice, though. I love Superior products. They've never let me down. They've never proven me wrong. Just gorgeous. And see, now let me show you what happened. I went to dip the cap to kind of rinse off the pigment. And as I did it, immediately it started to slide down and wanted to come off. I had to grab it. So, yeah, I'm probably going to, now I need to get it back on there. Okay, there we go. I'm probably going to end up putting like a drop of glue, I guess, in the very bottom of that cap, which I shouldn't have to complete. The concept should be pretty sound. It's cute. I think I'm being a little too harsh on the whole idea. It's cute, especially due to the fact that the pencils are pretty cheap. It's definitely worth the price that you're paying, if for no other thing than the fact that you're getting 24 gorgeous watercolor pencils that are full sticks of pigment. You don't have to worry about wood. You can sharpen them into a palette and turn them into a makeshift palette. They're super easy to take and do on the go travel painting with. So definitely going to be worth the price. And they're cheaper under the their original brand Superior sold through Light Wish, then they would be purchasing them through Arteza under Arteza's brand or through Master's Touch under their brand or through whoever else may be white labeling. These are woodless pencils from Superior. Gorgeous color, gorgeous tone. These are a great alternative to the expensive pencils. I just have to say they are. Especially if you're not someone who's worried about the whole light fast pigment conversation, then you don't really have the need, not unless you just want to for the sake of the bragging rights. You don't really need to pay hundreds of dollars for a professional, legacy branded watercolor pencil set like Karen Dosh or Derwent or Faber Castell. If you're not a person that really cares or is really subscribing to the pigment light fast artist information conversation, then pencils like this are going to do the job. They're bright and vibrant, they're easy to use, they're super affordable, and you can do every single thing with this set or with a set like this or a more affordable set that you can with Caran d'Ache or Faber Castell or Derwent, Koh-i-Noor. Who else makes a professional pencil? Stettler. So they're great alternatives and a nice range of products to kind of meet everybody's needs within everybody's budget. And I love that about the diversity that we have as far as being able to select our art products here now. We might not have access to every single art product on the planet, but I think we're pretty blessed compared to what's available in some other areas of the world, right? And we can get our hands on a lot, even if it comes from other areas of the world. All right, so far so good. If it wasn't for the fact that the cap wiggled off, um, on pretty much almost every one I tried to use with the whole dipping it into water scenario, then I really wouldn't have anything negative to say about the pencil set, the truth be told. I already knew going in that I was going to like the pencil itself because I've used them several times before. The gimmick, yeah, it's just a gimmick though. I think it's a cool idea. I like the individual brush thing for each pencil. I really do. I just wish that they weren't I didn't feel like it's gonna fall off in the water every time I go to try to dip the brush in water now. Maybe that's just my set. Maybe every single one that comes that way won't, every single one that's produced won't be that way. Um, Maybe temperature conditions like heat, especially here in Texas, had something to do with loosening the adhesive of the cap on the pencil. There can be so many things. Maybe sitting in the warehouse was hot and it loosened the glue. So many different things that could have affected the cap and making it loose before I ever opened the set. And I like to say things like that because I don't want, there's a chance that every single set open won't be like this. All right, I'm almost to the end of this front tray, and then I'm gonna check the comment section because I know I have been swatching and talking for a while, and I haven't looked at the comments. I do apologize about that, but I did want to get through the swatching so we can go ahead and get to actually doing a creation with these pencils. Now, if you have watercolor pencils, when we get to the creation demo section, please join along. You don't have to have these. You can have a set of Crayola watercolor pencils. They will work. Prang makes an excellent watercolor pencil for it to be, student grade, scholastic, and budget friendly. There are a lot of good watercolor pencils out there. All right, one more here. I'm just gonna leave caps off until the live is over, because I'm gonna try to use the caps on the end of each one for the demo section too. I'm not quite sure how that's gonna go, because when I do my skies, I do like to put more water than I should on my watercolor pencils. So I may actually use a water brush, but I think this would come in handy for like second layer detailing. All right, all right. We're going with, all right, let's see what we got going on here. Ooh, how pretty. I said that seemed like it was phthalo. It's a gorgeous color. And the brushes are holding up pretty well. I have to say that. I just don't like the fact that they seem like they'll slide off. But outside, see, that one, and you can see it was glued in. You can tell they were glued in. Okay, I got that down. Now, okay, okay, so if you pull the cap off, you kind of spin it a little bit, and then push it back up in there. Then it's more secure. It's not wiggly. So I think that maybe the grooves on the inside of the cap that holds it on, after so long, the pencil itself that indentation, it kind of wears out. So you have to shift it a little bit. So that kind of makes me wonder, how long have the pencils actually been off the production line? You guys know I get curious about all types of stuff when it comes to products. I want to know it all. Who are you? What did you make? uh, all right, let's see what's up next. Here we got going on with this first green. It's looking a little phthalo-ish. Yep, it's looking just a little phthalo-ish. Now, I will say I do like the fact that they seem to almost wash up, or go like they're trying to turn into a wash versus lifting, because I actually use more water then than I should have for watercolor pencils, and I didn't experience any lifting with that particular swatch, which is pretty cool. And at this point, I just want to get done with the swatch. Those colors seem awfully close to me. Okay, so I think one of those greens was just like a throwaway. Those colors seem awfully close to me. They don't look the same, but they definitely dissolve out really similar. And then, of course, you could always just wipe the brush on like a wet nap or a napkin or something in order to clean it versus dipping it. And that would be, a better idea, especially if you're painting with them on the go versus like dipping them into, other than just to, have a little pail of water with you to spread things out. As far as cleaning the color off the brush, probably be better just to use like a damp paper towel or maybe a wet wipe, something like that. Interesting. That one didn't dissolve out as well as the rest of them did. Had to put a little bit more elbow grease behind that particular color than any of the rest of them. There's always one, right? this one. Oh, that's gorgeous. Watercolor pencils. I've never understood why. I think some people just don't like them, and I get that. You know, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. Uh, I get it. Some people don't like to draw, and it is a drawing medium that has a water soluble effect. I mean, I get it. I promise I do. Some people just are not going to like it. But I wonder if some people don't like watercolor pencils because they've tried them and they actually don't like them, or because they've seen other people use them who said they didn't like them. I've seen a lot of what I call watercolor pencil haters on YouTube. I've seen a lot of videos like, what are these? Why would you use these? And I'm like, why wouldn't you? Think about it, especially on the go. What a wonderful thing. What a wonderful product. And they work so well in mixed media. They are absolutely phenomenal for first layers. And the thing about watercolor pencils is they're so versatile. You can use them so many different ways, which we're about to look at as soon as I finish. As soon as I finish swatching all of this out, we're almost done. But you can use them direct to paper. You can use a wet brush to pick color up from the lid. You can dip the lid in water and use it direct to paper. You can use the dry lid on wet paper. You can shave the pencil down and actually make a palette out of it. You can scribble the pencil onto another sheet of paper and make a makeshift paper palette. That's also a really cool way to make a travel palette too. And we're gonna look at all that. I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through all of that as we're doing our little demo, which won't take long. The demo will be pretty straightforward and easy, but it's gonna show you a lot of little techniques you can use with your watercolor pencils, and then you can give them a try if you never have. And if you have and you still don't like them, that's absolutely cool too. Everything is not for everybody. Definitely not. Okay. Not sure if I really care too much for the way that brown dissolved out. We'll have to see what it's like in action. Um, because I'm definitely going to have to use it for the demo. It's not a bad color, not at all. I will say I'm surprised at how much more elbow grease is taken for the earth tones. I mean, still nothing that will cause any type of fatigue or anything. Like, they're still super soluble. I'm barely touching the paper, honestly. It's basically a color. Like, if you like the color, it's wonderful. If you like doing color pencil work, maybe you'll like watercolor pencils too, because rather than using like a solvent, which could probably be dangerous, especially if you have like pets and animals, you can just use water to get the same effects. And there's no rule that says watercolor pencils have to be wet. You can actually use watercolor pencils wet or dry. There is absolutely no rule that says you have to dissolve them with the water. There have been many illustrations where I've used them in place of color pencil on top of themselves. All right, there. I don't think there are all of the swatches. They all blended out pretty well. Didn't have any too much of an issue there with those. I want to hang on to this. And in the meantime, I'll show you a couple of tricks that I was talking about. For instance, you can make a makeshift palette with watercolor pencils. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do color blending as I make these makeshift palettes to show you what I mean. We'll start, let's start right here, whatever. So I'm going to want to put wording here, numbers here, numbers here. So let's just start here, whatever. I'll put down this red, right? Put down this red. And let's just say you were about to go out. You had a very small painting you wanted to do. You could take the pencil and scribble it down onto a piece of paper, like take the paper, fold it in half, open it up, and then scribble down blocks of color with your pencil, like I'm doing here. I'm gonna grab a blue since I made it. And let's just say I wanted to do, I'm gonna put a triad here with the blue. And why not go ahead and mix the blue into the red too? So I'm just gonna put a layer of blue on top of that red. Now we all know what red and blue make, so we know where this is going. And why not put another blue block down here? We're making a makeshift palette, right? And this is also a way, if you're a painter who likes to keep color harmony, that you could make sure you're using the same colors, right? And you can make an entire palette and just kind of take it outside and do a really small painting from what you've scribbled out. So I'm gonna grab a yellow. Let's go with the lemon yellow. Um, and might as well put that on top of the blue. Making a whole palette, right? Oh, why not? So we got a red. We don't have a red. We have a purple. Um, we have a yellow. Let's see, what red did we use? Can't remember. Can't remember what red we used. Just gonna go with that one. Red, yellow, blue, purple, and what am I missing? Orange. I put a layer of yellow on top of that red. Which means I still need to put red back on the map, right? I keep obliterating it with other colors. This is like the craziest color wheel in the world, but that's what I'm doing. So we have red, yellow, blue, orange, green, violet. Yeah, there we go. Let's blend those out. See what we got. I guess I might as well use one of the brushes that's on there. Because we need to see how well it's gonna clean, even if it gets another color on it. So here is the red and the blue, which is going to mix on the paper to make a violet. But this is what I meant by makeshift palette, because you can actually add enough water to that. I'm not going to do it now, to turn it into a wash, and then you can pick up from that wash and paint in other areas with it. Take it to other places. Do other things with it. All right. Then we had the yellow and the blue made green. Look at that. So not only can you mix them, you can add enough water to that to turn it into a wash versus just kind of blending it out and take it somewhere else and paint with it. Absolutely. Here's an orange we mixed. Look at that. Gorgeous. That's actually a really pretty orange. Oh my goodness. And you can pick it up, take it somewhere else and paint with it. And now we know that these are all just a regular red, white, and blue. Um, so I'm gonna quickly blend these out because those were the primaries that we started with. So even if you only took 3 pencils with you on the go, you see you can blend those pencils together to make other colors. So they're just versatile. It's just a really versatile medium. I say if you've never tried them, try them. This is actually not a bad set to try, actually. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna look them up to see how much they're listed now. I know they're pretty reasonable. And then we'll also look at Artisans and see how much they cost. I know some people don't support Artisan, but I'm pretty sure you can find them under a different label. Another technique you can use is to paint directly from the pencil with something. Do I need this yellow? I'm trying to think. Do I need this yellow for what I'm about to do? Let me get a color that I'm not going to need in the landscape. Uh, what color won't I use? Don't know. Here, let's just go with this gray. I'm probably going to use it, but whatever. So I'm going to pull the brush off the end of this. I'm going to dip the brush into some water just to get it wet. Here's another technique that you can use. I find really helpful with watercolor pencils. You can actually pick the color up from the end and use the pencil almost like a pan of watercolor itself. And then just use the brush to paint with. Look at that. Look how gorgeous and saturated that is. I'm just making random marks on the bottom of the page to show you guys this stuff. Look at that. So you can actually pick directly up from the lid. Now, I wouldn't suggest that once you do that, I would suggest that once you do that, you actually give the pencil time to dry before you try to apply it directly to paper again, or before you try to sharpen it. Then there's also the technique where you could put down. Let me show you. You can do now. We've done direct to paper. You've seen direct to paper because that's basically what the swatching method is. I'm going to grab a synthetic brush here, and I'm going to just make a little block, a little block here. That way we can see how it works with wet. So dry to wet, as you can see, it'll make very vibrant strokes. Now, the thing about doing this method is once you put those strokes down, if you don't blend them out right away, they're there. Once that dries, it's going to dry that opaque, that rich, that thick. So, like, you know, and there we have us a little donut, right? That we drew in real quick. And then you could actually blend out the pencil to give some shading. So I put some shading on our little icing up here, just like that. They're so quick and useful, man. So quick and useful. If you are someone who likes to sketch in any shape, form, or fashion, and I mean, you don't have to be a sketch artist. I'm gonna take some. What color was that? Here. I'm just gonna scribble some of that brown. down in the bottom of it, and then take the brush and immediately blend it. There you go. Just a little example. Uh, so we talked direct the paper into wet. You can move the pigment from one place to another with a makeshift palette. You can paint directly from the actual lead of the pencil. You can sharpen the pencil and make a palette. Now, I don't have a current palette going for, wait a minute, I might have failed. I might do. I might do. Let me take that back. I do. So this is a palette made out of watercolor pencil shavings, and there's actually a video. I'm gonna see if I can remember after the live to go back and link that video where I showed you how to take watercolor pencils, shave them down, and make basically make a paint palette. And that's what this is. The pencils were shaved down into this little palette I ordered off of Temu, which has a little tops on it to help keep it closed, help keep the things from falling out, the flakes from falling out until they were wet enough not to fall out. And then basically afterwards, you just go back and you wet them just like a paint pan, right? And this is on the, saving your shavings, and this method really only works super well with woodless watercolor pencils. Now if you're using a watercolor pencil that has a wood on it, a wood surrounding it, your shavings might not, or definitely are going to give you the same effect. Right about it. But look at that, look at how beautiful that. Now this palette is made from the artisan woodless watercolor pencils. Look at how gorge. And then, I mean, I don't even at this point, I'm not even holding a pencil at all. You know what I mean? Like, just so much you can do with these things, man. Especially if you're using the woodless ones. Now, the thing is, woodless ones are typically in a student grade uh, set. You're not going to find any other professional branded watercolor pencils in woodless form, which I think is so terribly disappointing. I'm just kind of putting out some swatches so you can see that you can literally make a paint palette. And to be clear, I'm going to leave this little palette out for when we do our demo because again, the Arteza pencils are the exact same as these pencils, so the colors are going to match up. And I may have a color in the Arteza set that I don't have here and vice versa. So there's another way. So save your shavings in a little palette, put a little water on them, and bam, you have a watercolor palette. Super easy. And like I said, I'm gonna try my best to remember to link that video where I made that little makeshift palette. All right, let's jump into doing some creations. I'm gonna do a really quick landscape for you guys. I've already kind of pre-sketched out some of the things that I want to do here. I more than likely will not be using the brush on the end of the pencils. I'm going to be using my bigger brushes just so I know there's going to be some stuff that holds a little bit more water. Now, I'm going to try not to move too quick while moving quickly because I'm pretty sure we've been on over an hour now. Yeah, just a little over an hour. I have a little landscape done out. I do not have like traceables or anything available. You can, if you have watercolor pencils, by all means, please, please, please grab yours and follow along. You can use watercolor paints, watercolor crayons, whatever medium. If you just want to draw, work on something in the background, I just encourage you to grab your art supplies and create. You never have to create what I'm creating. I just want you to hang out and know that you have a safe space to explore your creativity and to know that there's somebody in your corner to tell you to be kind to yourself, to go easy on yourself. Everything won't be a masterpiece, but everything will be a learning experience. Always remember that. Let's jump in. I'm going to start off with the sky. I'm going to go with, ooh, let's go for more of this sort of sky bluish color, Philly color here. um, and I am going to start at the top of my paper. I'll be a little heavy with my pressure there. And then I will use horizontal strokes to bring that color on down the paper, getting lighter with pressure as I approach the top of my mountain there. Now, if things get too dark at any point, guys, please let me know. I will close the blinds and turn on the studio lights, as I always tell you. Hello, Carol. Just made it in from work. I'm glad you decided to join us. Love that. Love that. All right. Now, if I was on the go, I would be painting with a water brush. And I kind of really want to paint with a water brush. Let me see if I can find one real quick. I have Superior Farming water brushes that I think are really good. If I can put my hands on one. Like, look, these are just the brush containers that are by my desk. Let's get this crackle. I'm actually going to drop, and this is why I like water brushes with watercolor pencils. I just feel like they give me so much more control. I'm going to drop water on my paper and then start to blend up. Keeping in mind that too much water is going to lift the pencils off the paper. So do keep that in mind. You want your darkest concentration of color at the top. And if you feel like you didn't put down enough pigment, I wouldn't suggest you go back in. Now, if you want to do it direct to paper, you want to give this layer time to dry first and then go on with another layer of your color. Then dissolve it. Because if you use your pencil directly on the wet paper, it's going to make marks that more than likely you won't be able to blend out. However, you can always grab your pencil that you were using, take your brush, grab color, and paint directly on your paper with it. Add color at the top there. Just to give it a little bit more saturation. And even if you need to, this is the one method that I was going to have to wait to get here to do. You can use a palette. And in this case, I'm using a plastic palette. And I have taken this plastic palette and taken sandpaper and scratched that palette up. It made all these different grooves and scratches and texture in the palette. Now, why did I do that, you ask? I did that because I'm then able to take a watercolor pencil or a watercolor crayon and take that pencil or crayon, roll it around on that palette. It's going to grab the pigment. Oops, I'm sorry. And then I'm able to wet it and make a wash of color real quick so I can continue to paint. Now that's not the same color. I did switch over and add another color in. And I am wetting my paper and blending that color out. I just want a nice background. I'm keeping it pretty light. but it's going to stand out pretty well against everything else that I paint once it's all in there. All right, while we're giving that time to dry, I'm going to go ahead and you can add again. You want to keep it darker at the top, so if you need to add color, perfectly fine. If you want to switch over and get you like an ultramarine and add a strip of that at the top, it would work out really well. I'm going to switch over to my yellowish green color and start to put in some foreground here. So this is going to be a grassy area. And now I can shadow that several different ways. I can shadow that with a darker green. I can shadow that with the red, which would be its opposite. I definitely want to put a little yellow in there, like right towards the front here to warm it up a little bit. Warmer colors come towards you. And then you could use a darker green, or you could use ultramarine blue, or a dark, sort of a natural shaded blue if you wanted to. And I'm going to, and this is what I think makes them so fun, coloring aspect. Kind of makes you feel like a kid. Add a little yellow into that. And I think I'm going to go with, do I want to go with a blue to darken, or do I want to go with a darker green? Decisions, decisions. Let's go with a darker green. Hmm. You know what? I better go with this. I better go with the blue. Which one do I want to use? I want to use this one. And I'm just going to put right around the mountain line, and then just a few places in there, just to give it a little depth here along the path. Maybe it will be a little darker. We're going to have some shadow there anyway. And as you can see, the blue is literally mixing in on my paper, giving me darker color, giving me shadow. I could mix it on my palette to get the same effect if I so choose to. All right, it's just a little few hints here and there. I'm gonna go ahead and blend this out. I can add more color in a minute if I need to. Have a paper towel here for wipe my brush on if I need to. Why is this in here? Like, why is this here? All right. Um, and then I'm going to start with blending in my lightest area first. And then I will hit everything else. And you do want to keep your stroke sort of horizontal or running in the direction that you want the grass or that particular area to be emulating. I'm just blending it out. We'll be able to add more depth into it once we go in, maybe with another layer, or just put in color directly from our brush. I haven't decided just yet. I want to put the trees in first before I get too heavy with the groundwork. But that requires me putting the mountain in, and we need the sky to dry for that. Let's go ahead and blend out this side. Again, I'm trying to touch my lighter areas first. Not that it's really that big of a deal. It's something I do in my head, I guess. And all those different textures blended together kind of give you the feel that you want. And you want to keep, again, be sure to paint in the direction of your field. And I'm able to control everything with, I'm just give my brush a little squeeze, get some more water there so I can blend a little bit better. Now I kind of obliterated my sketch, so thank goodness I've drawn it once. Muscle memory kick in and help me remember where things are. All right, let's go ahead and throw in the mountain line. We'll come back for the pathway. And basically what I'm trying to do is get color on everything so I can see what I need to enhance or whether or not I need to enhance anything. This is going to be more of an sort of an impressionistic landscape real quick. Let's see. In that background, I definitely want to start um, with the same kind of green that we used in our grass because I kind of want it to be I want it to be I want it to have harmony. All right, we have a solid color down. Then I'm gonna go in and I am gonna mix in some darker green. Is that the green I use? Yes. All right, and then I'm gonna put some darker green. I thought I didn't use it in the foreground. And put it right across that bottom. And then a couple of places just kind of squiggled in there because I got to put it in more than one place. And then some blue. That way I can start putting in like some intentions that we got some dimension going on back here. Um, let's see. And then maybe I'll put in, and you just get to experiment with mixing so many different things, right? So I put that blue in there, I'm gonna actually put a little orange on top of that, just a little bit, which is gonna neutralize that blue, and it'll give us a little bit more color in our kind of grassy mountains back here. And we did have yellow. in our grass. So why not just a little touch of yellow on the crowns of the hill? Maybe it's like sunshine or something. I go back and grab that original green I was using so I can get a little bit more saturated, just kind of blend everything together. Almost like using color you would do if you were using color pencils, right? Okay, I like that. That's nice. All right. And it automatically kind of gave us a horizon line to work with. And standing out against the sky, you can now see that the sky actually has a really light tint of color to it. Now, what you do here is completely up to you. I like to utilize um, the smooth and the tapping technique. Now, what I mean by that is this. I'll let some water run down into my bristles here. And along my base, I'm going to go in right away and smooth. That's the smooth part. And it's going to help with the division between that and the foreground. You may even want to put some trees or something in there later on. Then I'll tap. I'm going to actually tap, staying within the shape of my mountain. And I'm going to tap in my lighter areas first. Again, keeping my shape. And even sometimes when I tap, I'm gonna push up with the tip of that brush so it'll give it some maybe some treetop looks. And then I'll immediately just go ahead and start blending in and tapping in the rest of it. I'm continuing to tap, continuing to tap, 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 pushing up just a little bit as I tap, blending them beautiful colors into each other. And as you can see, we have places where we have what looks like natural shadow based on us allowing it to mix like that. All right, let's work on our little pad here because most of our entire landscape is from the horizon down. Let's work on a little pad. Now we have some a wooden fence that's going to kind of divide our pads out, which is fine. But what we want to keep in mind again is the direction that our landscape is running. It's kind of coming down a hill here. So we want to make sure that when we draw in our path, we keep that in mind. So the first thing I want to do is grab a little of the ochre color, which would have been the second one. This one looks more ochreish to me. And when I kind of draw in my path here, I'm keeping the strokes going the way that the path would naturally go, if that makes sense. And when I dissolve it, I'm going to dissolve it in the same fashion. So I'll put down that first layer, and then I want to grab some of this darker, richer brown here, and we're going to put that in as like shadow along the path, kind of going inward, inward with it a little bit. And I'm keeping it a little darker on this side. So it looks like more light is hitting that side of the pad. And it also kind of look like, it's rounded a little bit more doing it this way. Now you can put shadow on the opposite side if you want, but you just want to kind of hit and miss it. You don't want it to look darker than the shadow side. And we'll probably put some grasses along it. Maybe not. See, my cap fell off. I was coloring. Let's see. Maybe there's a little green on that pad. So I'm actually going to grab the darker green that I use in the mountain area. And I'm just going to put a little green here and there on the side with the light. And maybe just a little bit on the shadow side mixed into that brown. It's not bad. All right, let's blend it out and put in our trees. And like I said, then we'll see where we go from there. Everything is, especially when I'm doing something that's like an impression, I'm just trying to capture the spirit. And this normally happens like when I have my pencils outside, if I'm at the lake painting, um, if we're like on vacation and all I have is a set of pencils with me. The object is to capture where I am as quickly as I can with as much accuracy as I can, but keeping in mind that it's a quick sketch. I think that's where a lot of us go wrong when it comes to learning and creation. We forget that everything is not going to come out perfect by any means. Now, you could have tapped along the path as well, but I kind of wanted the path to look like it might have some smoothness to it in some shape, form, or fashion. And I did not add any more water. I only used the dampness that was on that brush because I do want to keep some of those lines that I drew. Mhm. All right. And I'm okay with it being a few little harsh lines there. Let's go ahead and throw in the crown of our trees, which we're going to have quite a few of them. So let's see. And I'm just scribbling. I'm really just scribbling. I'm not being too particular. I'm just putting color where I think it would be. And see, that top still really isn't dry. I shouldn't be doing this just yet. So I'm going to grab a hair dryer. Ugh, I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna go for it. If some of it gets like stuck down, it won't dissolve. Oh well. So what I'm doing is imagining where I would have like crowns on a tree or maybe a bushel of leaves or something of that nature across the sky. And I'll switch over and put in some of my darker green towards the bottom of each one of it. Now it's gonna seem weird at first, but it's gonna work out. So what I typically do is draw darker at the bottom of the crown and then let a line kind of shoot up through the middle of it. Don't ask me why that works out, but it always does. I'll put a little blue on the very end. Uh, you can put some orange in there to tie it into. I think I'm going to put some orange in there because I want to tie it into the mountain a little bit. And keep in mind that blue and when that orange and blue mix together, they're going to neutralize each other. So don't get too carried away. And some yellow. You got to be thinking to yourself, Thrifty, what are you doing? Why are you putting all of this stuff on that paper? You see, a little yellow in there too. Because they're leaves. And when we get through dispersing this pigment, they'll look like little crowns of trees. All right. Now I'm going to take my water brush and kind of dry the water off. And I'm going to go in and kind of tap those crowns and let that color disperse around in those water drops I'm putting down. Look at that. Just like that. All you're going to do is tap. Let the water hit the pigment, and the pigment will do the rest of the work. All you're going to do is shape it with the water. And before you know it, you have some really vibrant crowns of leaves that you can then draw branches to. And I like to do my leaves first. I just feel like it makes it easier. And then I can always draw the tree to meet. And of course, you can always add more saturation and more dark to these once they dry. If you don't feel like you have enough saturation or enough dark or enough color or enough or whatever you don't feel like you have enough of. Yep. All right. Now I know still not quite there yet, but it's going to make sense in the overall scheme of things. I'm going to grab a brown because I need to put in a tree trunk. So I'm going to go for the ochre again that we use on the ground. Again, keeping color harmony. And I'm going to start drawing branches to meet my crown. Let's see. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, something like that. And then I'll grab the darker brown and I'll just really quick, short strokes, add in some darkness here and there, definitely around where the each of the crowns meet these in a tree. Oops. Well, that's going to become a much bigger branch than I intended. Let's see if it'll erase. Paper is a little damp. It might not erase. Nope, it's not going to erase. That's fine. No biggie. All right. Not too bad. Not too shabby so far. Let's go ahead. I'm not going to dissolve that yet. I want to put some more trees in because I'm not sure how far with this I'm going to have to go before it's done. Let's see. I want this to be a crown right over here and like here and here and one over here. I think that might be the only place I want them, or maybe here. It's gonna be a cluster of trees if you can't tell. Pretty much doing this the same way. Again, we're drawing on the go. We're just trying to capture the impression of whatever it is we see in front of us really quickly, right? And I'll put some blue on the bottom of those. Is this the same blue? Yeah, this is the same blue. Hmm. And I'm using that same technique where I scribble on the bottom and take one line up through the middle of it. All right. And then I'm going to grab the same orange I had, put a little over the blue, a little in the crown top. Keep in mind, putting it over the blue is going to cause the blue to neutralize, become more grayish. Putting it in the crown tops is just going to be adding the orange in. I really need to put it in all of them. But I do want to put some yellow on them top. Now, this is not a detailed watercolor picture painting. Watercolor pencil painting. There are so many different ways to use them. This is more of an abstract way to use them in order to, again, paint quickly and get what you're looking for done. You can get much more detailed with them. You can draw, literally draw with them. So what I'm going to do is, again, start with the tapping motion and get me some tree crowns here. Got way too much water in that. I'm tapping. This brush is all of a sudden feeding out lots of water, which I mean, it's not hurting at the moment, so not too concerned. Just kind of want to make sure I keep in mind what I'm drawing here. Don't want it to get too far outside of a recognizable shape because we're already just painting blobs. You know what I mean? They're just color blobs that have mixed color in them. Okay. And that way we'll have some trees right here, sort of like in the foreground. Now, while I'm giving that time to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and put in. We have a fence, but I think I'm gonna just make it one color. Um, let's see. See, this is a post, and it runs this way. And at this point, I'm just sketching now. I'm just kind of sketching on what I feel. Sort of got this sort of raggedy gate or whatever. And it's definitely got a raggedy gate. And it's got some other posts. I don't know, it's kind of weird in my head, like right there. And then, like, and I don't mean to, like, that. And this. And, do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. All right. And then it will probably stay this way here. And all the way live. It's all the way live. Hey. And then if it goes that way, we'll see. All right. I think that makes sense. And then we'll just dissolve this and blend it out right quick. It got a little bit wider than I intended for it to just then, but let's keep pushing and see what happens. Okay. And it's not going to be perfect, but you get it. Now, I'll probably use black to shadow this, which I didn't put in right away because I wanted to see how dark this would be. I mean, because it's right up on us, right? And it would probably be a little bit more in shadow than most other things because it's right up on us. So I just want to see how dark this was going to be before I added anything else to it. Trying to keep my angle and perspective right based on how I originally started. All right, and I think we're doing pretty good here. Let's just take a step back and see what else we need to add in. We definitely need some tree branches. Tree, not tree branch, trunks and branches. Trunks and branches. All right, ochre color it is. Let's see. I want a tree here. And then there's going to be one that connects here into the ground. And that's going to go into that same tree. And then this one needs to be part of the same. Okay. Then we have this one could be growing that way, and that one could come here. Allow me to bring this one straight down, and all of those can be in a trunk together. It's got these different branches to it. That works. I missed this. So I'm going to put down dark green around the base of all of this. So I can blend it back out into that. And I need to put a little darker blue. I need to put some blue there, because that's going to be definitely dark green. And then the blue will act as shadow too. All right. I'm going to be adding more color, more color, just to spruce it up. I do definitely need you to see that that is going down here. That's why this area is darker than the area on top. And then a little of that yellow in again, just a little bit. All right. I want to put a little of this blue back here, like shadow in certain areas. All right, and add a little brown into that. And put a little brown on, darker brown on my trees. All right, and now I'm gonna blend out these branches. Leaking a lot of water there. So what I'm gonna do is actually switch over to using one of the brushes that's on here. So I don't have to worry about it feeding any water out while I'm doing this. Now that at this point I'm just blending out the trees that I drew. And the thing is, I don't really like that color on that branch. So I'm probably gonna change it in a moment. But for right now, I'm gonna keep on kicking. Finish everything up here. Okay, and then I want to reblend this area, which is gonna make it more saturated. Blend out some shadow area. Blend some area under my mountains there. Keeping in mind the direction I was doing everything. And hopefully I'm giving it a downhill effect. Porch. All right, I'm gonna take a look at that on camera right quick and see where else I want to go with it. Oh no, I think that looks just looking pretty decent. Check the comments real quick, see what's going on. Yep. Daniel Smith or Pure Pigment Stick. Winsor and Newton used to make Pure Pigment Stick. They don't anymore. But yeah, I use Daniel Smith Pure Pigment Sticks in my Daniel Smith palette. Actually, my Daniel Smith palette is made up of more pigment sticks than it is of actual half pans paint. I've been a huge fan of pigment stick for years. I've told you guys about pigment sticks in many videos. I've told you and encouraged you that they're a wonderful way to get a complete stick of pigment without the tube, without the top, without the plastic, without the aluminum. You're basically getting pure pigment, pure paint in a stick form with a paper wrapper on it. And I cut them down and put them into half pans. So I've been a huge avid pusher, promoter of paint sticks for years, for years. American Journey actually has their own paint stick as well. There's a few companies out there. Not many companies make them, but there's a few companies out there that do. I hope so too, Eleanor. I would love to see woodless follow suit and become a thing because again, pure pigment just held together with whatever binder they have in the stick to make it a stick. You know, of course, there's differences between watercolor pencils and paints chemically as far as the formula goes, but whatever they're using, I like this whole concept of a watercolor pencil more than an actual pencil. It just so happens that my favorite pencils don't come in this form. So I would love to see that happen. I'm gonna put a little yellow in down here. I would love to see that happen. I'm just kind of sprucing up the paint a little bit more now at this point, adding a few more layers, a few more details. Might actually go in with dry pencil and not dissolve. It just depends on what I'm doing. Let me see. I want some more of that dark green down here along this part of the pad, right up under here. Okay, and I'll put a little bit more. Wait a minute, I'm getting these out of order. Put something wrong. What do I do with the blue one? Okay, so this one goes here. This one goes here. Okay, there we go. I was the blue. Leave that. Where you going? Come back here. Get a little of that down here. And now I'm gonna go and start putting shadows in everywhere and see if that's gonna probably gonna use the black for shadows, make them intense. It definitely would be nice to see Karen Dosh release a set of woodless pencils. It would be nice to see Derwent. Whereas I don't know with Derwent, maybe they probably wouldn't because they already have like the Inktense block, which is a pure pigment block of whatever material the Inktense is made out of. They have the Inktense XL blocks. They have the Graphitint XL blocks, which are all pure pigments of big blocks. So those are some pure pigment products by Derwent. Um, Creator Color makes the Aqua Bricks, which is a pure pigment. Um, you guys remember those things? I love those things. I don't know why I don't use them more than I do. But the Creator Color Aqua Bricks, and then there's a company called that makes it Art Graph Chalks. That's a pure pigment product. No sticker, anything. Do I have those things? Let's see if I have them handy where I can show them to you. Here they are. Like these things. I love these things. You guys remember these? The aqua bricks. I had so much fun. Enjoyed testing them out too. But pure pigment brick of color you can pick up, write with, draw with, color with, or use a wet brush on. Really cool product. Really cool product. So there are a lot of products out there on the market that kind of mimic the same thing. All right, let's go ahead and add some darks into this, and then we're gonna call it a wrap. I want to add some texture into those trees in the back, so I'm actually going to scribble on dry pencil, and I'm not going to dissolve it out. It's just adding texture. And I'll even enhance that with some blue, just to give it back some of the definition. I may have lost in dissolving it out. Behind that tree on that mountain. Shadow there. Um, let's see. I'm gonna grab the black and I'll shadow the bottom of the fence and pole on both sides here. And I'll do it on this side of all of them. Now, I would never sharpen these in an electric sharpener because it would defeat the point of saving the lead. I would use a regular pencil sharpener, probably something that either catches the shavings or use a pencil sharpener directly over a palette so that you can catch the shavings. I'm trying to see. So, like, with the pencil sharpener, see which one of these is like, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me get a color that's in here. So, like, this red or this yellow, I'm pretty sure is lemon yellow. So, like, if you wanted to, you could sharpen it and then kind of sharpen the shavings into a palette like so. As you can see, it's going to sharpen the pencil. You can sharpen it as much as you need to. Be careful because it's pigment. See there? So I rub my finger across there and pigment comes off, or dye, or whatever they have it. Just that particular one made out of. And then, like I showed you earlier, just kind of spray it and use it as like a little palette. Now I'm going to grab this little liner brush. What is this? Not this thing. I need something that I can use. I'm getting upset. Give me a good brush. I need a good brush. Um, ain't nothing like a good brush. You know what I mean? A good brush will change your whole painting experience. What is this? This is a number one round creative expression uh, golden Teflon brush, I think, by Creative Mark. Or it might be synthetic squirrel. I don't know. I'm just gonna blend out that black, which is gonna add more definition to my wood area, which is what I want. And if need be, I can grab. All right, that pretty much sums that up. All right, let's put in a little bit more shadow, and I'm gonna paint directly from my pen here at this point. Since I got this little small brush in my hand, I can just kind of use it to enhance some stuff. I need to put in some shadows here. on my trees. And and I guess I can throw in a few grasses around the bottom of that as well. Let's get enough pigment on my brush. Mm, And you can even mix it if you need to. I'm gonna mix that green into that brown I already had there, which is probably gonna make it like an olive color. And I need a brush that's gonna give me a better point. But you get the gist of everything, I'm pretty sure. I'm just gonna put a few more details on here and there, and then I'm gonna call this done. Again, really quick, cute way to sort of get an impressionistic style painting when you're out and about. And I can just continue to use all the different techniques to continue to reshape, blend, add more detail, add more shadows here and there. It's going to give it more of a realistic feel. The more I add to it, the more I layer. But of course, you wouldn't be doing all of this out and about. Out and about, you would get in those details you need to get in, and that would pretty much be it. But because I'm doing this with you guys on camera, I'm able to put a little bit more emphasis into making sure. Oh, hey Nicole. I hope you're doing okay. I hope all your doctor's appointments went well. Sure do, man. Glad you decided to pop in and say hello. All right, that's cool with me. This they call Tawny. I'm gonna use it to blend in a little bit more into these trees here. Just make them a little bit more solid, so I don't have to worry about the background, the trees, and I mean the green and the mountain kind of. All right, as you can see, this gives me great control at this point. At this point, I'm really just kind of playing around with details, putting these little grasses down here around the trunk of the tree. Add a little blue to that, just like watercolors. Literally, just like watercolors. You see me mixing. Um, Put in a few little darker grasses down here. Not too much, because they're just like right around the tree trunks. Um, a little definition on that pad there. Just a little bit to define everything. You'd be surprised what just a little bit here and there would do to the entire picture. Kind of wanna like a wash of this and come over my pad one more time just to add a little bit more color and to it. You can do a flat wash with your pencil. Pretty much what I just did there. When I get to this end, I just let it get more choppy. And a little bit warmer in tone right here towards us. Right there. That was better. You can keep playing around with it, keep playing around with it, keep playing around with it. Do as much as you need to, do as little as you want. I'm putting on some darker strokes here now just to emphasize major shadow. All right. And then here, just a tad bit of water on that brush. Just a tad bit, tad bit. You have to be careful. Everything is so dark. I picked up quite a bit of color that time. But it's okay. It works out fine. It's really pretty. All right. And then I want to, all right, let me put some shadow on the ground. I'm gonna call it done. It's a cute little quick illustration. Nothing too serious, too fancy. Let's see. The light has been coming this way, so these trees would shadow this way. Uh, and the post would have a little bit of shadow coming off of those as well. There would be a little shadow back here where that tree rounds. Hey, view. All right. And then I'm going to go back to my slightly bigger brush and blend it out right quick. Just like that. Not too much thought to it. Just do it. Same thing here. I'm going to blend that out right across the pad. Not too much thought to it at all. Right across the pad. If you feel like it's too dark, add a little bit more water to your brush than you normally would, keeping in mind that that lifts the watercolor pigment, watercolor pencil pigment anyway. And then I'm just blending this out. It's amazing the difference just that little bit of shadow made, right? We'll blend that shadow in across the back here. Just pull it right on out. And I do have my pencil in my hand in case I need to throw a little shadow in elsewhere. Can't see anything else there. That's fine. I think that's good. I think we're good. I think I'm gonna call that done. I think that's a cute little quick illustration to show you how you could use watercolor pencils to get a quick impression of whatever you're trying to paint outside. Now you can spend so much more time, just like with color pencils, how you can spend so much more time, put so much more work into it, make it look so much more realistic than what I've gone for here. But I could do all types of things, like I could go back and scribble color into the crowns of my tree, which will give them texture. Just scribble in a circular motion. I don't know what to give it texture to add more color to them. So you can do all types of stuff. You don't have to stop just because I did. You don't have to stop where I did. You don't even have to take it in a direction that I did. Do you? The things I show you guys, I just be showing you to help you get techniques and things down. But yeah, of course, I don't mind you painting whatever I paint. And I don't mind you painting what I paint, selling what I paint, whatever. Um, but I definitely encourage you to just, try to use some of it as just inspiration. Okay. I think I like that. I feel like I need to do the same thing to these to spruce them up a little bit. It just seems so dead, non-saturated. I'm sorry, wrong word. YouTube, don't demonetize me. uh, a little bit of that darker in there. And I'm just mixing it. I'm just doing this for texture because the shape is already there from what we did earlier. So I'm not going to blend this out. And then again, I told you, you can use your pencils wet or dry. All right, and then I'll put a little, I'll mix in a little blue on the base of everything. I'm sure there's going to be somebody who wants to go blend it out. You absolutely can. I'm not going to, but you absolutely can. And that, my friends, is going to be our quick little illustration today. Do not go into using watercolor pencils expecting to be able to do the same thing that you do with your watercolor paints, because they are not paints, okay? They are a water-soluble stick media that is referred to as watercolor pencils. There are very few watercolor pencils on the market that are going to be pigment based. There are very few that you're going to find any light fast information for, any independent light fast testing done for, unless you're talking about your major legacy brands. Karen Dosh, Faber-Castell, Stettler, which is a much slept on brand when it comes to pencils, in my opinion. Much, much slept on. I don't understand why. Wonderful brand. Oh, just too big. So it looks like I'm going to be using a regular pen to sign my name, which I probably shouldn't do, but oh well. Yeah, I can't see when that was done. It doesn't matter. Got my name on it. All right. I'm going to pull this tape off right quick. I painted on a 6x6 100% cotton 140-pound cold press paper. This is, I'm still trying to, I'm going to have to put it in Google to get the proper pronunciation for it. I'm going to show it to you in just a second. So there is our little illustration for today. Hopefully you painted along and did something that you enjoy doing. As far as affordability go, let's just talk about different things. Let's talk about those pencils, where the price of them are before we get out of here. So I'm gonna tell you now. I personally I recommend the media. The watercolor woodless, the woodless watercolor pencils. That's what I recommend. Now, what brand you buy them under, or what brand name you buy them under, is totally going to be on you and what's available to you. Now, as you know, those are the superior. I've been showing you a few times throughout the course of this live. I also have them in the Arteza sets here, and this is the set that this palette is made from. Um, as you can see, I'll show you the sharpening. They'll come to a really nice point. When I sharpen these, I use the pencil sharpeners that have the catcher on it. That way I can just kind of, knock it around a little bit and then put all those shavings into a palette like I did here. So very versatile way to use them. If you buy them under, let's see real quick here. Let's head over to Amazon, because I know you can get them under the Light Wish. Let me look at, let me just look at my order history on here, because this is going to be easier than trying to just search them out. Okay, I ordered these pencils back. They were delivered May 17th. So I ordered the pencils back in May. I found them on Lightwish site, uh, on Lightwish storefront on Amazon. Creative watercolor crayons, 24 vibrant shades, dual-ended watercolor stick and brush for painting and blending, non-toxic watercolor paint set is how it's listed. And they are currently, you ready? This is currently $11.99. um, and they're 24-piece glory with the case and the individual brushes on each one. You can currently get these on Amazon right now for $11.99. Now let's look at the Arteza ones. Watercolor pencils. Let's see. Now under the Arteza brand, they are $19.49, so about $8 more if you order them under the Arteza brand versus ordering them under the Superior brand on the Lightwish, which is who actually makes them. And if I don't have this listed, I will be linking this in the video description. I really will. So you can check back in about an hour or so and you'll be able to see it. See, woodless. Let's just look for woodless watercolor pencils and see what else pops up. So Arteza pops up for 1949. Kohinoor makes one. That's who else makes one. Now Kohinoor makes a Progresso woodless aquarelle colored pencils. They have a set of 48 that is currently listed at $68.59. Now, there is a company that produces a professional pencil. Their Mundalus are their professional watercolor pencils. Now, whether or not these Progresso woodless pencils would be considered professional, I don't think so, because they look so much like these that it's ridiculous. I'm willing to bet Kohinoor. I don't know if, well, I know Kohinoor does make their own pencils. I don't know. Because I know that there are companies, even though they make their own products, they'll still white label some products from other companies, which I've never understood, but it happens. What else do I see? Only other thing that pops up like this is Tim Holtz Distress Crayon, which is 1885 for 2 sets of 12. There is Altenew. Altenew makes a woodless watercolor pencil. So there's a crafting company that does it. They have 24, the same count, for $44.99. And I guarantee you that's the same pencil. Yep, I knew it. It's the same pencil. Same as Arteza, same as these. The only difference is this has a cap on it. This has um, dome. So these look more like the Arteza pencils. But if I was going to buy them, because Altenew typically, I don't know why they price their stuff so high. Maybe it's just because of the brand name, because it's a craft company and they know they can get away with it or whatever. But $44.99 from Altenew plus $4.49 delivery, even if you're a Prime member, unless you spend so much money, because they still do that. You can get them for $19.89 from Arteza if you want the domed and you just don't care about having um, the brush, or you can get them for $11.89 under the Lightwish brand on Amazon. So three different ways to get them, a couple of different companies to buy them from, a lot of difference in the money. King Art makes some. King Art has a 24 count for $19.99. I'm pretty sure it's the same pencil. I'm pretty sure it is. Let me see anybody else. I don't see anybody else popping up. So there's Superior, who I believe is the original manufacturer of all of them, no matter what brand they're under. So Superior, 11.89. Arteza, 19.98. King Art, which I don't have, but they look just like these, 19.99. Altenew, which I don't have, but they look just like these, 44.99, which is ridiculous. Altenew, y'all need to be. Altenew, I hope you see this. Y'all need to be shaming yourself for that. Then there is Kohinoor Progresso, which is 31.30 if you get them in the box, 68.59 for 48 in a 10. Um, and if Kohinoor is not making their own and they're white labeling from Superior, like I know King Art, Arteza, and Altenew are doing, then they need to be shamed as well. However, if Kohinoor, because they do produce some of their own pencils, if they are producing this pencil themselves and the formula is different, then maybe it's worth it. But I'm gonna be honest, I would never spend $68 to get 48 of those, or even $31 to get 24 Koino pencils when I have these for 11.84, and these is a backup for right at $20, and they all work beautifully. So there you have it. 24 bright and beautiful woodless watercolor pencils with their own individual capped brushes that is nylon around a number 4 head that actually worked really well and was more practical in use than I initially thought. So yes, I would definitely recommend the pencils without a doubt. Oh, I put all those in upside down, did I? Nope, they go that way. Okay. But yes, I would definitely recommend the pencils without a doubt. I mean, seriously, they're under $12. I need to order another set or two. This would be great. These would be great to order a set or two and use them as giveaways, or better yet, even list them on my own website or on Palm Street and just reduce the price on them. Sell them for uh, $6 or $7 for the whole set versus 11.98. Although 11.98 is not a bad price. Friends, that's going to bring us to a wrap for today. We have been hanging out for quite a while. If you are a part of the Creation Station, uh, we are going to be having a live tonight at 11 for our regularly scheduled Monday Night Live. We're probably going to be working on going back to the mixed media roots. I will have a post for it put up shortly. If you missed the Watercolor Sunday Fun Day Live that happened yesterday, again, go check it out. That's what we painted. We put together that curated set of colors. It was a lot of fun, and it's open to all Patreon members, free members, as well as Creation Station members. So you can go check that out. And I think I even shared the link over at Paints, Pencils, Pastels, and Markers, which is the Thrifty Apprentice sponsored Facebook group. And I might have shared the link on my Thrifty Apprentice Facebook page as well. So there's a lot of places you can go find this live from yesterday. And I'm going to be working on the edits for that live in a few minutes as soon as I get off of this one. Let's see. This Wednesday, you can expect I haven't decided. This Wednesday's video, I have a couple of things in the tank that I can release for this Wednesday that actually have already been have the edits done. All I literally need to do is upload the video. So it's either going to be a watercolor painting or is going to be a color pencil demo review. Because I'm about ready to go ahead and get those Posca pencils reviewed and out the way. Um, Trying to see anything else. We of course we'll have a product review coming up this Friday because we're in product review season. So either this Friday or Saturday there will be a product review dropping on one of the ones that we need to go ahead and get done. It may actually be the overview for the Hannah MP influencer artistro set, which we unboxed last Monday. So if you missed that live, you can go check that out and replay. Edits have already been done, so it'll kind of flow through pretty smoothly. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna say bid you guys adieu. Let me see, but I'm gonna pick up that paper here and try it. Yeah, I like the paper. The paper is nice, T. So I don't think you'll be disappointed, and you're probably gonna get it cheaper there than we pay for it here. Oh well, I guess not. 25 euros. I guess not. It's about as much as I pay for in Jerry's. Um, so interesting. So I guess it's kind of moderately priced no matter where you are. And then, oh guys, someone who was that? The Hunt Life was asking, was this a live or a replay? You can pretty much always tell whether we're actually live or whether the live is being replayed because most replays I do have edits, so you wouldn't get all of this talking. You would just pretty much get the flow of the video through the process of what we were concentrating on. So always know that if you hear me doing all of this talking like this, we're definitely live. I'm curious though. Because I know the dollar exchange rate fell. Ooh, didn't find that much. Because 25 euros is 29 US dollars. Okay, sis, what size is that paper? Oh, bigger size. Okay. Okay. See, you already knew what I was thinking. You was in my head. I was just say $29 for a 6x6 pad. Now sis, it's good, but I don't know if it's that good. You know. But it is. It's a really nice paper. It holds accelerate. It holds saturation really well. Um there's not a huge shift in the colors at all, even with this student grade set, which is superior, ironically enough. Um, there wasn't a huge shift. And I was able to, again, all those texture techniques that I put on this paper, I like it. I think I'm going to buy a bigger pad. I want a bigger size. I've discovered quite a few papers here lately that I like that are probably going to be my go-to papers. Fabriano Artistico, whether I'm getting it from Fabriano or whether I'm getting it in the Etcher sketchbook form. Um, New York Central 100% cotton watercolor paper, amazing paper, love it. This 100% watercolor paper, until I really learn how to pronounce the name. I'm probably not going to call the name of it too much. This is definitely one that I like. Um, Definitely one that I like a lot. It really puts me. I've been trying not to say it. I've been trying not to say it, but it puts me in the mind of Fabriano. It puts me in the mind of the way Artistico makes me feel when I'm painting on it. That freedom, um, and the fact that the paper I can wet it down crazy, crazy, and it won't buckle. It has a little wave to it, but it doesn't buckle. I like it. I don't think you. I think you'll like it. It's a big rectangular, like 21 inches by 7 or so. Oh, okay. Okay, now in that case, as long as it's more than like 15 sheets, 12 sheets in there, I say, hey, go for it. That's because I like the paper though. So maybe that's bias. All right, friends. It has been a pleasure. Again, Creation Station, I'll see you tonight. You can expect a drop this Wednesday and possibly a video drop this Friday and or Saturday. Outside of that, I'll see you right back here next Monday for our regularly scheduled Monday morning live at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. In the meantime, keep an eye out for Patreon posts, keep an eye out for Instagram posts, keep an eye out for Palm Street. That's what I'm trying to think. Think of Palm Street posts because we will be going live for a wonderful sale over on Palm Street. So I will be putting those posts in both the community section, Facebook. Yeah, go out, enjoy the rest of your day. Remember that I always love hanging out with you guys. And as I tell you at the end of every single video, my friends, just keep creating.